Fortunately, you guys know that Iowa was a little bit of a circus. Iowa was definitely a circus, and the results still aren't necessarily genuine. And Pete Buttigieg is up in delegates, even though he lost the popular vote. He lost to Bernie Sanders. Had there not been boots on the ground in Iowa, independent media, people with their camera phones on, there would have been more cheating. Deval Patrick would have got that 7% that he didn't actually get, and that would have went through uncritically. But fortunately, there were boots on the ground counting the votes independently. There were boots on the ground turning their cameras on when there were these bogus coin tosses going on. There were boots on the ground repeating about what they saw, and then other independent media outlets would spread that and report on it as well. And so they weren't able to get through with as much cheating as they wanted to. That's literally what happened. And fortunately, it's a one and done deal. Fortunately, everyone's learned from Iowa's mistake, and we don't have to worry about it happening again. Or wait. Just kidding. Just kidding. Joe, my editor, shares this. Joe, thanks for sharing this. A complete disaster. That's what they're predicting in Nevada. Hey, how's the caucus going to go, Nevada? Probably a complete disaster. This is from Politico. A complete disaster. Fears grow over potential Nevada caucus malfunction. Malfunction's one way to put it, huh? Volunteers complain of poor training for a vote reporting system that was adopted on the fly. By the way, Nevada, so Shadow Inc., which, by the way, that was what they used in Iowa. Shadow Inc., which Pete Buttigieg gave over $40,000 to. No candidate gave even close to that to Shadow Inc. Joe Biden gave about $1,500. That was it. Pete Buttigieg gave over $40,000 for alleged text message services. Although the original report designated it as something else. And randomly, one of the people at Acronym, which is the company that oversaw Shadow, is married to a senior strategist for Pete Buttigieg. It's almost like maybe Pete Buttigieg knew something. And then all of a sudden, all the discrepancies in Iowa tilted in Pete Buttigieg's favor. Interesting how all that unfolded, right? And Nevada saw all this happening, and they're like, hey, this is kind of shady. First of all, this app, the Shadow Inc. app, they told nobody anything about. Why? Because if they did, people would have been like, gee, there's some conflicts of interest here. These are all Hillary people, and these are all Pete Buttigieg invested all this money. It seems like you guys aren't going to be fair and balanced. We're a little concerned here. But they didn't tell us anything. Why not? Because they said if they did, Russia would hack it. So Nevada, before knowing any of this, gave Shadow Inc. a bunch of money, decided after the circus that is Iowa unfolded, Nevada decided, hey, we ain't using Shadow Inc. Shadow Inc., of course, the check already cleared, but what are you going to do? So now what Nevada's doing instead is they're doing this newer system. Anxiety is rising over the possibility of another tech-induced meltdown at the Nevada Democratic caucuses that are going to be happening this coming Saturday. In interviews, 3 caucus volunteers described serious concerns about rush preparations for the February 22nd election, including insufficient training for a newly adopted electronic vote tally system and confusing instructions on how to administer the caucuses. There are also unanswered questions about the security of internet connections at some of the 2,000 precinct sites that will transmit. Some volunteers who will help run the caucuses at precinct locations said they had not been trained on the iPads that the party purchased to enter and transmit vote counts. Party officials scrambled to streamline their vote reporting systems, settling on Google Forms accessible through a saved link on the iPads after scrapping a pair of apps they'd been planning to use until a similar app caused the fiasco in Iowa 2 weeks ago. So they're going to use Google Sheets instead. So if your online connection is shaky, or if there is an overload, there's a good chance things could crash. And they're using iPads and Google Sheets. I'm all about evolving technology. I'm all about that. I'm not trying to sound like a Luddite at all. But until you come up with something more secure, guess what? You got to get a pen and a piece of frickin' paper. That's what you got to do. Now, do I long for the day where we don't need that anymore? Sure, totally. It's wasteful. in many ways. But if that's what you need to maintain election security, because there isn't a better system yet, well, then that's the way it's got to be. And it's amazing. We have a more secure voting process for American Idol than we do for our own freaking elections. There's a lot of different things we could look into, but it's more fun to look into apps developed in the private sphere that have a huge slanted political bias. That's more fun. The concerns, which were described on condition of anonymity because the volunteers are not authorized to speak to reporters, come at a perilous moment for the Democratic Party. As the third state on the primary calendar and the first with a significant minority population, Nevada holds huge importance in the nomination contest. So let's just poorly train people on these iPads, and we're going to rely on Google Sheets. That's what Nevada's doing. What are we doing here in California? We're relying on machines that have never been tested before. That's what we're doing here in California. We have new machines. They have never been tested before. They have failed in their beta tests. They've never been tested formally. In all of their beta testing, they've failed completely. They've never actually been tried or tested formally. And what little beta testing there's been, it's failed. And we've done videos on that. You can find this on this channel. It has failed every test for its accuracy and for its security. And yet, that's what we're doing in California. And in Nevada, they're just using these random iPads. This could not be scripted. You could not write this script. If you wrote this and said, yeah, this is an election in the United States, people wouldn't, they'd be like, this is too over the top. Come on. This is too over the top. Nevada, how do you feel about your caucus? It might be a complete disaster. Not a lot of confidence here. Might be a complete disaster. If you're in Nevada and you're going to caucus, have your camera phone ready. That's the only lesson we can take, and that's the only way we can prepare. Have your camera phone ready. Same goes for California. Same goes for anywhere. Have your camera phone ready. Be ready to take footage of what you see. Because if it wasn't for people taking footage of that person deliberately trying to cheat in a coin toss, we wouldn't have known about it. If it wasn't for people reporting on what they saw at these caucus events in Iowa, we wouldn't have known about it. So be ready. That's all. The shenanigans are going to happen. It's guaranteed. So you got to be ready. You got to be ready. That's all we can do. So Nevada. Feeling confident, Nevada? No, we're thinking complete disaster. It might be a complete disaster. It might be a small disaster. It might, we're not feeling great. I think this is the main point. We're not feeling great. Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. You can tweet me an article at Ron Placone. We'll go through it together and make it our own. Get your news on with Ron.